So this is the Nike Flex Experience RN12, and it's part of their running series and on sort of budget end. So these sort of retail for around £70. And I just want to sort of check them out because I'm a big fan of the Nike Free series, and this is kind of a take on those really. But overall, you know, like I said, it's made for running. That's what the RN, as far as I know, stands for. But you can use them for sort of walking as well, especially, you know, if you're sort of budget conscious, like I said. And also, you know, if you're looking for something sort of neutral on foot, really. With the details, it comes in, you know, this, I guess, sort of material, which is almost like a textile material woven. And, you know, much like any other, I guess, running type shoe. It's quite sort of flexible, but at the same time, this one feels a bit more sort of chunkier and a bit more thicker and sort of, I guess, hard wearing as well, which is kind of to be expected for this piece of, you know, in the sort of price range that you're getting. And, you know, it's part of the Move to Zero series as well, which means it's using recycled products in most of the shoe. And also on the heel, which you'll see also on Nike Frees, are this kind of sort of flexible material at the back here on the heel to like enable you to slip your foot in, and I think that actually works quite well. And you've got the sort of pull tab here as well, which feels strong at the moment, but you know, over time sometimes these things sort of fall off or become unstitched. Depends on how you get your foot in there. And then also with the midsole, I don't think there's anything special. It doesn't feel like EVA. I think on the inside it's got a little bit of squish to it, but it kind of feels very much like a polyurethane midsole or some sort of EVA that they've used. And obviously the selling point mostly with this is using sort of the free technology from Nike, which is this sort of split design on the midsole. So if you sort of flex it, you can sort of see it's got that sort of tension point to allow you to sort of move quicker, especially when you're sort of running off your foot. So if you're like, you know, running like that, then it just kind of pushes you off, which is nice. It gives you that sort of lift off experience, and it's also quite nice for walking as well, and you know, enables you to be on your forefoot area more, which is kind of how you should be walking, I guess. And in terms of the box, you can sort of see here, I went, you know, sort of true to size on these, and it's coming in this sort of black, white and dark smoke grey colourway. And in terms of the comfort, I think with this particular pair, it's you know, pretty comfortable. It is what you get really. You know, for £70 shoe, it's not going to be amazing, but at the same time, I don't find any problems with them really. It feels very similar to like a Nike Free trainer. It hasn't got too much squish in them. I think those ones probably have a little bit more squish in them, but what you get with this is a bit more sort of ground feel, because the midsole's kind of about there-ish, and then obviously the midsole's kind of overlapping onto the upper. And overall, I suppose, you know, the way it feels on foot, I didn't feel no sort of tension points, no issues. There's kind of no breaking time with these. The laces feel slightly a bit short for me, but you know, I have a wide foot, and you can kind of see how much I've been, you know, had to sort of undo them to get them onto my foot. And you know, in terms of like the upper, I think the wearing time on this is pretty good to go out the box. Like I said, it's pretty perfect. I went true to size on these, and they fit fine as well. I don't find any issues with those, especially if you're sort of using them for running. I think best is to try and go true to size, and like I said, it's got enough flex in there. And just like I said, the way they sort of feel on foot is very sort of forefoot friendly, so you know, you should be moving off your forefoot more so, not much on the heel side. And you know, like I said, it's all based on sort of more sort of on the firmer side. I'd say it's medium to firm. There's a little bit of give, but not too much. And then, like I said earlier, the outsole, you know, is pretty perfect for sort of wet conditions. My only gripe with this would be that it's kind of like a white outsole, so this is going to get dirty very quickly and show a lot of dirt. So overall, the look and style, I mean, this is quite sort of a stealth look really. It's pretty basics on foot, quite sort of slim silhouette as well, which is, you know, again, ideal for running, and they feel very lightweight on foot. And I think, you know, because of this is a black colour, you can get one which is an all black one with a black midsole outsole, and then in that instance you can probably wear them pretty much anywhere, in all honesty. I think it's kind of accepted now for, you know, to wear sort of Nikes on a daily basis, whether you're sort of at work or out and about. You know, and even with like smart trousers, I think you can pull it off with this particular pair, especially in the black colourway. So overall with the ratings, I'm going to go with the 4. I think they look pretty cool, pretty, you know, simple and just clean looking, and like I said, a slim silhouette if you're kind of after that. And obviously this is more of a modern type runner look to it. And also with the comfort, I think with this one I'll probably give it a 4. There's nothing special going on, but at the same time it's not horrible. It's very sort of neutral on foot and fairly simple. And also with the quality, I think with that one, I think maybe I'll probably go with a 3. It's just standard stuff. I think the upper's going to be quite sort of hard wearing and last a long time, but I do expect the midsole and outsole to wear out quite quickly, such as it is with like these shoes and on this sort of price range. And with the cost, I think at £70, I think I'm going to give that a 5. I think, you know, Nike usually charge quite a bit for all their sneakers, and I think this comes in a good price range, and it's got that kind of, you know, they don't say it's using the free technology, but it's very, very similar to that, so it's pretty much sort of bang on, apart from the you know, the heel area. So in that respect, I think, you know, it's pretty cool. And in terms of the overall ratings, I think I'll give it a 4. I think if you're after a budget, you know, piece of footwear, especially for running, and you don't like the high foam stack sneakers, and you just want something that you're going to like bash around in and not care too much about, then this is perfect for that, and also perfect for sort of everyday walking because of the fact they're neutral and quite sort of firm on foot, which is, you know, good for your foot, and also, you know, like I said, being more so on your forefoot as well. So overall, I think it's still a, you know, a cool piece of footwear, you know, very sort of budget friendly, and you know, you can't go wrong with a pair of these, and they'll last you for a little while.